Listen closely because the atmosphere around you is shifting even as these words reach your spirit. You are not merely a spectator in the theater of life. You are a masterwork of cosmic engineering, an intricate lighthouse whose internal frequency resonates with a rhythm far beyond the mundane. There is a specific, haunting weight to your presence that others feel before you even speak, a depth forged not in comfort, but in the white-hot furnace of adversity. You have been tempered by the frost of betrayal to become something truly indestructible, a sovereign entity that no longer seeks validation because you have become your own source. That individual who drifted out of your orbit has finally encountered a jarring internal revelation. It wasn't a sudden crash, but a crystalline clarity that began to settle into their very marrow. They have realized that walking away from you wasn't a simple exit from a relationship. It was the desecration of a sacred sanctuary. While they stood within your glow, they possessed a priceless equilibrium, a spiritual borrowed favor that most souls traverse entire incarnations just to glimpse. They mistook your grace for their own merit, and your peace for their own stability. But now, the silence of your absence is speaking louder than any argument ever could. You are the catalyst they didn't appreciate until the reaction stopped, and as you ascend into your highest timeline, they are left to navigate the echoes of a light they chose to dim, only to realize that your sun never sets, it only relocates. Your arrival in their timeline was a precisely timed celestial intervention, a garment of grace meant to shield their vulnerabilities and propel their evolution toward a higher peak. Yet, their inner shadows mislabeled your strength as a resource to be exploited, an ocean they could drain to fill their own shallow wells. They failed to grasp that your core essence is an inexhaustible sun. It does not extinguish, it simply withdraws its warmth from barren ground to nourish those who honor its heat. When your aura detached, the invisible pillars holding their reality aloft crumbled instantly. You were the silent guardian of their peace, absorbing the storms that should have leveled them long ago. Your focused intentions acted as a spiritual filtration system, purifying the chaos of their environment. Every door that opened for them was swinging on the hinges of your inherited grace, yet they mistook your generosity for their own merit. The moment they chose the path of deception, they unplugged themselves from the vital current that sustained their luck. Now they are plummeting through a void of their own making. That professional fortress they leaned on is cracking at the foundation. The chorus of sycophants who once echoed their ego has fallen silent. The shiny replacement they sought out has revealed its jagged, rusted edges. Beneath the facade, their soul recognizes the harvest of their own discord. They weren't just misled, they were drafted into a campaign of spite, aligning with scavengers who could never breach your perimeter without a traitor at the gate. They became a vessel for a darker intent, whispering at tables where your character was being dissected by the envious. This was an organized raid on your spirit, not a simple parting of ways. You sensed the atmospheric drop and the hardening of their gaze, yet you remained anchored, fueled by the conviction that your light could catalyze their healing. Your endurance wasn't a flaw, it was a mission. The grand design required you to remain until every mask was discarded and their true frequency was documented by the scales of justice. Every fabrication they uttered was etched into the cosmic ledger, not for the sake of vengeance, but to ensure your eventual ascent was permanent. You needed to witness the depth of their debris to fully embrace the height of your own architecture. Now the bridge is gone and your path only leads toward the stars. After they discarded the diamond, they performed a frantic dance of triumph. They flooded the digital world with curated glimpses of a hollow ecstasy, desperately trying to convince the audience, and themselves, that they were lighter without your weight. But it was a house of cards in a wind tunnel. Behind the curtain, the silence began to scream. The new company offered no solace, the new circles provided no depth, and the new life tasted like ash. Too arrogant to repent, they escalated their hostility, broadcasting a distorted version of your shared history. They donned the robes of the martyr, preaching to any passing stranger that escaping you was their liberation. Yet, every false syllable they threw at you became a heavy link in a chain around their own spirit. You cannot defame a sacred soul without the echoes returning as a haunting. Even the listeners began to notice the dissonance. Your tranquility spoke louder than their turbulence. While they tried to bury your reputation, you were undergoing a profound subterranean alchemy. You weren't a corpse being hidden, you were a seed breaking its shell in the fertile dark. You were shedding the old skin of who you thought you had to be. Those nights of profound sorrow were actually the tides of grace washing away the residue of their influence. Your period of isolation was a divine quarantine, preparing you for a throne they could never sit upon. They mistook your labor pains for a final collapse, unaware that you were birthing a version of yourself that would never again settle for a drop when you are the reservoir. They called it a breakdown because they lacked the vision to see it was a breakthrough. The pace is now shifting into high gear. While you moved into the sanctuary of authentic healing, investing in your purpose and fortifying your boundaries, a supernatural magnetism began to pull your destiny toward you. Doors that were rusted shut are now flying open. Tribe members with matching frequencies are appearing out of the mist. Your life is being restructured by a higher hand to reflect the power you now wield. You have ceased the hunt and become the prize. Contrast this with their descent. Their boastful career moves have stalled, their toxic circles are eating themselves, and every lie is demanding payment with interest. They changed the scenery, the people, and the routine, but they brought the same fractured spirit with them. They are discovering that you can't run from a spiritual debt. The universe is now holding the mirror steady, forcing them to see you as you truly are, rebuilt, radiant, and utterly beyond their reach. The realization that they were the architects of their own exile is the ghost that will follow them into every new room. You are free, and that freedom is the ultimate testament to your divinity. You are a revitalized sun emerging from an eclipse, possessing a gravity that defines the orbits of everything fortunate enough to be near you. While your trajectory has ascended into the stratosphere, the one who attempted to anchor you is now navigating a subterranean collapse. Their professional facade is eroding into dust, their social circle has morphed into a hall of mirrors, and the shallow substitutes they sought are now manifesting as psychological weights. They migrated across landscapes and shifted their external masks, yet the rot remains because they haven't realized that the storm they are enduring is a spiritual invoice for the harmony they sabotaged. No geographical escape can outrun the karmic echo of their own treachery. Their awakening likely occurred during a moment of profound stillness when the digital veil slipped, revealing your image, not as a victim but as a masterpiece. You appeared not as a relic of their past, but as a prophecy of a future they can no longer touch. In that instant, a jagged realization pierced their ego. Your exit wasn't a loss for you, but an eviction for them. They didn't dismantle your spirit. They inadvertently shattered the glass box that was limiting your growth. They are now haunted by the silhouette of the person who offered them genuine sanctuary, a loyalty so rare it feels like a myth in their new hollow reality. They began a desperate archaeological dig through old artifacts of your connection, seeking a spark in the cold embers of their memories. They are meticulously weighing the shallow affection of their current peers against the oceanic depth of the devotion you once poured into their life. Every comparison returns a deficit. They started sending out subtle flares, digital ghosts, indirect inquiries, and tactical social signals, hoping to find a fracture in your resolve. However, your internal radar detected the shift in the atmospheric pressure long before they materialized. You recognized that retreating to a smaller version of yourself to accommodate their regret would be an act of self-betrayal. You didn't endure the furnace of their desertion just to return to the embers. You've constructed a fortress of discernment where the gates only open for those who carry the same sacred frequency. Your refusal to engage isn't a gesture of spite, it is a profound act of self-sanctification. Your silence is a titanium wall, communicating that the person they once knew has been completely overwritten by a sovereign entity. By sealing the vault of your energy, you have effectively transitioned them from a protagonist in your story to a footnote in a closed volume. This is the apex of the cycle, where the cost of spiritual negligence becomes an absolute reality. While they are wandering through a psychological desert, deprived of the protective canopy your presence provided, your existence is blossoming into a lush, independent ecosystem. Every milestone you were told was impossible is now a landmark in your rearview mirror. The very toxicity that was intended to douse your flame acted as the oxygen that ignited your expansion. They thought they were burying a body, unaware they were planting a titan. You have mastered the art of alchemy, transmuting their leaden betrayal into the gold of your own autonomy. You are no longer defined by what was taken, but by the infinite space that has been cleared for your arrival. Your liberation is the ultimate manifestation of justice, a living proof that when a divine assignment is rejected, the blessing simply returns to the source, leaving the transgressor to face the elements alone. You are the architect of a new world, one that requires no validation from the ghosts of the old. Your rise is inevitable, your peace is untouchable, and your journey is just beginning. You are a diamond that found its own luster in the absolute dark, possessing a brilliance that no longer requires the reflection of an external observer to exist. The script written for you by another involved a long, agonizing descent into desperation, a performance where you were supposed to play the broken protagonist pleading for a return to the cage. Instead, you flipped the canvas entirely, choosing an elegant exit followed by a calculated, disciplined rebirth that rendered their influence obsolete. This state of profound neutrality is a devastating declaration. It signals that their presence was never the centerpiece of your universe. By prioritizing your own internal sanctuary over the theater of conflict, you have communicated that the bond was merely a temporary stop on your way to greatness. This frozen calm is far more jarring than fury could ever be, because while resentment is a bridge that keeps souls tethered, your absolute lack of concern has burned that bridge to ash. You have reached a state where they are no longer a villain or a hero, but a ghost from a discarded timeline, a footnote in a book you've already finished reading. This shift has created a vacuum that is now pulling at the foundations of their entire world. The psychic weight of your absence is vibrating through their entire social network, causing a drought of spirit where your presence once provided a flood of vitality. You were the vital organ in their ecosystem, the unseen engine that kept their reality running smoothly, and now that the power source has been withdrawn, the systems are stalling. Even those on the periphery of their life are beginning to sense the atmospheric chill, asking silent questions about why the warmth has departed. This is the weight of a divine appointment being squandered. A cosmic invitation was extended and then trashed, and the universe does not offer second prints of such rare opportunities. Consequently, they are now caught in a repetitive loop of mirrors, attracting only those who carry the same fractured intentions they once projected onto you. They are drowning in a sea of shallow mimics, encountering the same hollow echoes in every new face, realizing too late that the authentic gold they once held cannot be replicated by assembling 1,000 pieces of lead. Your strategy of total atmospheric silence has acted as a sonic boom in the spiritual realm. They were braced for a storm of accusations, prepared to deflect your pain with their own justifications, but they were met with a terrifying, hollow void. This absence of sound has forced them into a mental interrogation room where they are the only ones present, filling the silence with the most agonizing projections of your success. In their mind, you have ascended to a throne of effortless joy, moving through a reality so vibrant that their name has been scrubbed from your memory. This phantom version of you, untouchable, thriving, and completely uninterested, has become a competitor they can never defeat because it doesn't even know they are playing the game. The true tragedy they face is the internal severance. Every time they chose a lie over your truth, they were cutting the wires of their own soul. They aren't being hunted by an external force, but by the hollowed-out version of themselves that remains after walking away from the light. You have emerged as a sovereign spirit, while they remain wandering in a labyrinth of their own construction, searching for a doorway that you have already locked and hidden. You are a master alchemist of the soul, a rare entity who has transmuted the lead of betrayal into the purest spiritual gold. Your function in the lives of others was never to be a permanent harbor, but a fierce, navigational North Star designed to ignite their internal compass. You served as the living blueprint for high-frequency existence, demonstrating the architecture of honor and the fluid grace of emotional mastery. Yet, those who lacked the courage to evolve mistook your lighthouse for a private lantern, attempting to possess the source rather than doing the internal labor to ignite their own. By seeking shortcuts and trying to assemble your essence from fractured substitutes, they have anchored themselves in a state of permanent stagnation. The very requests they made of the cosmos are now being fulfilled with surgical precision, yet the arrival of this clarity is a devastating storm. They sought vision, and now they are blinded by the harsh glare of their own mistakes. They sought understanding, and now they are suffocating under the weight of an irretrievable loss. This is the ultimate irony of spiritual maturity. The wisdom arrives exactly when the bridge to change has already collapsed into the sea. The energetic field they once inhabited has splintered into 1,000 jagged fragments, hemorrhaging vitality into the void. When you were anchored in their reality, your presence acted as the magnetic core that kept their chaotic world in a cohesive orbit. You were the gravitational constant, the structural foundation that allowed their ambitions to take shape. Without your stabilizing current, they are experiencing a total system failure, unable to conclude even the simplest of intentions or maintain the most basic of commitments. This spiritual insolvency has manifested as a physical decay, a hollowed-out gaze and an aura of exhaustion that no amount of cosmetic repair can disguise. They are carrying the crushing tonnage of what if, while you have ascended into a state of cellular radiance. Your secret is a profound simplicity. By amputating the dead weight of their influence, you allowed your natural brilliance to expand into the cleared space. You are not merely surviving the amputation, you are flourishing in the newfound lightness, proving that spiritual alignment is the ultimate aesthetic and vitalizing force. The environment itself has become a living museum of your absence, with every corner of their reality serving as a constant, unyielding reminder of the quality they discarded. The universe is not playing a game of chance. It is maintaining a deliberate high-stakes classroom where your memory is the primary textbook. You have realized a truth that can never be unlearned. You are a self-sustaining son. Your wholeness was never dependent on their recognition, and your completeness was an inherent trait that you simply rediscovered in the silence. The wounds they inflicted were not scars, but tectonic shifts that revealed the vast, untapped reservoirs of your own resilience. You have graduated from the School of Fire with a degree of invincibility, understanding that their role as the antagonist was the very catalyst required to launch you into your destiny. They were the friction necessary to create the heat for your liftoff. You are now operating from a sovereign plane of consciousness where resentment is impossible because the distance between you and their frequency is too vast for such low-level emotions to travel. You have been exonerated by the highest laws of the spirit, crowned by your own unwavering integrity, and liberated into a life where you are finally the sole architect of your joy. Walk now as a god among men, for you have earned the throne of your own peace.